Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from Micheal Pope here at Life is a Sacred Journey to all of you out there in the global neighborhood. I am trying a new thing this morning. I am so excited, and you can see that I am joined by my good friend Gaurav, and he is joining me all the way from India. He's known as the Lost Indian. So we will get into a conversation with I call him G. He is my beloved, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But welcome, G, to Life is a Sacred Journey. It is so good to see you this morning.
Thank you, Micheal. And,
it is so good.
Thank you for this wonderful opportunity.
Yeah, I am so happy. I am so happy. So let me get started by just saying a few things to you this morning. On my way into work, I was listening to NPR, and on NPR, they stated that the mask situation is getting a little out of hand, that people who don't want to wear masks are actually attacking people who do want to wear masks by yelling at them, and a person even spat on another person who was wearing a mask. And I wasn't going to say anything, but actually yesterday G and I were preparing for our conversation today, and one of the things that he said that he liked about me is my ability to tell the truth, right? And so I have to tell the truth about how I felt about seeing that video. It was sent to me, and wow, that's my first thought. And then my second thought was, if you're going to scream at another person about freedom and your freedom to not wear a mask, then why would you go and get in the personal space of another person who is exercising their freedom to wear a mask, and then go even further and have the audacity to spit on them? So I'm not understanding that. That doesn't make any logical sense to me. And what that really raised up for me is we have a mental health issue in America. There are people walking among us that are mentally ill because there is nothing. I could not spit on another person. And you have to be mentally ill to walk up to a person that you do not know and spit on them. So we need to do something about mental illness in this country, because some of this anger and racism and all this gobbledygook is coming from a place of an unhealthy mind. And so let's work together on our minds a little bit more, and so that we can walk a little bit more gently with one another. And I want to thank Karen. She is a dear friend of mine, and she knows that I'm always talking about the mask. Wear your mask. So she made me a show and tell mask. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Auntie KK. This is my show and tell mask. So the reality is, in this mask, there is this, I don't know what it is, but it's like a wire. And so the person made it so that you can press it down again along the bridge of your nose so you don't fog up your glasses. And this is also long enough so it covers the chin area, so you have a complete little suction. This is a small, again, this is my show and tell mask. You have a complete suction around the areas that you could spread the virus. So here's your mask. Hand sanitizer. I carry this one around because it's a spray bottle, and so I can spray my hands at any time and do like this. And I kind of do that all day long, and then when I go to the bathroom and stuff like that, I wash my hands. So, and then I'm living in a social bubble that I have not broken since March. So come on. We can do this, you guys. We can do this. I am sick of this too. I am sick of coronavirus. I am sick of pandemic, because I want to get to solving some of the ills of the earth, and one of them is racism. And I can't get out there in the world and do that until we get rid of this pandemic. So we can do this. Work together. And those of you who are angry and want to hurt everybody else, we send you good vibes, and we send you peace. because something is wrong, that you think you can invade another person's space. Peace be with you, that person. Okay, G. So let me tell you a little bit about Gaurav. He came to Alzheimer Services of the East Bay in 2014 through a program called Collaborative with my good friend Dwight Wilson, who lives here in Oakland now. And he came through this program. We partnered with St. Mary's College and Collaborative, and they came, not only he, but even the producer of Life is a Sacred Journey and all of this stuff that we're doing, Felicia, they came in the same class, along with our brother Luis and Catherine in Germany. And together we did so many incredible things. But one of the things that we did that shows me that when people come together, no matter where we come from, if love, respect are the foundation to how we treat each other, we can create family. And so I have created a family with Gaurav and his mother and his father and grandmother and his brother. And I loved it because he went back to France and became a professor and a consultant and an international businessman. I was so proud to have been a part of, a little bit a part of that success, because he did learn a great deal here at Alzheimer Services of the East Bay. So we're going to have a conversation, and we just wanted to invite you in to this conversation this morning. And he is, well, actually, G, what time of the day is it there, and what day is it there? Because
it's 7 in the evening, and it's still Friday here.
Okay.
But it's the weekend here because I'm in Dubai right now. And we have the weekend on Dubai, and we have the weekend on Friday and Saturday, sorry.
Oh, okay. So in Dubai, the weekend starts on Friday.
Yeah.
Oh man, okay. I'm retiring to Dubai. I believe in 4-day work weeks. I'm actually beginning to do more of that, as you had advised many years ago. So, so how are things going for you and your family? I know you guys are also sheltering in place, and why you are home in Dubai instead of in France right now. I know you're a loving, caring family, and being together is not a burden, but you know, what are you doing with your time?
So, one of the first things I do here, one of the first things I had the opportunity to do was cook. And my parents have never seen me cook, but they've heard me cooking for myself abroad. So I did that because this was the perfect opportunity. But to give you an insight, it's been 16 years I've spent more than a month at home.
Oh, wow.
16 years back, I went to boarding school, and I've never been at home for more than a month. So normally when I come, it's a holiday, but at this time it feels like I'm at home. And the other thing is it's very safe here. When the lockdown happened, it was completely locked down, and it was very interesting how Dubai took charge of it, like the whole situation. And as of yesterday, they kind of reported that there's 0 cases as of now. There's no daily reporting of cases anymore. And 2 weeks back, they opened up the country for tourists. So now tourists, including you, can come and visit us in Dubai.
I know that's right.
So I can show you outside, and it's pretty normal, although we have to wear our masks and our gloves and while we're going out, but everything is open, limited capacity. The parks are going to be open from tomorrow. So it's slowly opening up. But I think during this whole time, it was just me, my mom, and dad at home. Again, it's a blessing to have this because my mother has been working all my childhood. And one of my dreams was to get to spend more time with them and her.
Yeah.
And now she's been working from home, so I get to do that. I get to see her at work, and I get to spend time with her. She gets to feed me, so I put on a lot of weight also.
A mother's favorite thing to do, right? I wanna lift up Gaurav's mother. She is an artist. And the painting that you see behind him was painted by his beautiful mother, my dear friend. And that she loves trees. And anyone who knows me, you can see behind me, I have a branch. I just love trees. I love wood. Actually, this week, I was happy to report to G and Felicia, I actually purchased a tree where my ashes will be placed when I die. I bought it from the Better Places Forest, and I'll be having them on the show at some point. I know everybody gets all nerved up when you start talking about death, but I am so excited because I bought the most beautiful tree. It's beautiful, isn't it, G? Yeah. And I made sure it was on a trail so that all my young people and their children could come and visit me, because the redwood tree lives about 2,000 years. So legacies of seeds that I have planted, they will be able to come and see me. So that's pretty awesome. So G, talk to me about sort of the lost Indian thing. That's a new thing for me. When you brought that up yesterday, I was like, okay, that's interesting. Talk to me about that.
So earlier, when you were introducing me, you said that I got to meet you and I learned a little. Oh, you you said something and I wanted to correct you, and I said I learned a lot. And like I said yesterday, I was the lost Indian, and being lost, I found you, and you changed my life, and that's how I eventually got to go back to France, learn to become a professor, consultant. Any opportunity I've got since I've met you, I would attribute all its successes to you. And like even when we were getting ready for this call, you were telling me that you still learn something every day. And I remember 2 months back when we had our first Zoom call, I didn't know how to use Zoom, but then you had already sent me this invitation and you sent me the ID and password, and I was like, wow, like that's amazing.
I know, right?
And back before I met you, I thought, oh, okay, I'm 22, I finished university, and now there's no, you can't learn much. And then I met you, and I was like, wow, she learns. Like I see those. I always remember that bookshelf right next to you in the corner in the office.
Oh yes, it's still there.
With all the business books, and if you don't know something, you pick up and you start reading one of them. And I think I learned how to learn. How you inspired me to learn. One, I've always been lost because in I guess in our time we always need to have a goal, and you need to know where you want to go, what you want to do. And I've never had such goals. I mean, I want to be a good human being, but I've never thought of, okay, I want to be a banker, or I want to be, I don't know, scientist or something. Yeah, I've never had that. And someone told me this when all my friends had goals of like being a lawyer, being, an accountant and stuff. And I was like, I don't know what to do. And he was like, that's a beautiful thing. I mean, you're open to all the opportunities in the world. And
Yes,
that gives
yes.
that's a blessing in itself. Whereas people who are so focused will never see all these other opportunities. And that's one thing which led me to you. And since then, I've always had a purpose, which is, and I remember this quote you once we had a discussion, and you told me this, and I always quote it when I meet people that it was a discussion with my teammates, and you told me that you cannot kind of direct the conversation, but you should always create an environment which brings out the best in themselves. And
Yeah.
I will never forget it. We had this conversation in your office, and
I
that's
know, I
something which,
remember that.
and that's my goal, like to always create an environment, which further translated into me being a professor. I've never thought I would be a professor. Did I reached there? I also had this one when we had a consultant back when we were in ASEB. He used to help. I forgot his name, but he used to help with the rebranding and the whole
Oh,
organization.
Brian, yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he used to take us out for lunch, and we got to be part of subcommittees. And even at that time, I remember I told myself, like, I would also like to try my hand at consulting. So anything I've done after I've left your side, I remember it, like anything I've thought during that time actually materialized over the last few years. And I think the final one was we were at your home for dinner, and you asked me, like, you were blessing all of us,
Yes,
and
I
you
remember
asked us,
that.
and you asked us what would you like? I think what would you like to do in the future? And I said I would like to be able to come back and see you every year, possibly. And fortunately, the next 2 years, I got to come back and be with you every summer, like come and see
Yes,
you.
yes,
So
yes.
I've been lost, but being lost, I keep finding my way. I keep finding different opportunities, and being lost again today, I'm back on the podcast, which is beautiful. And
It's
I
full
think
circle, full
it's a full
circle.
circle.
It is amazing. I hope I sent Dwight Wilson an invitation, and I apologize. Good morning, all of my friends. I see my sister out there. Good morning, dear sister. Thank you for designing a beautiful website for us. And my sister T and Betty, all of you, thank you so much. I'm learning how to navigate 3 different screens. And I am so excited at 63 years old. You know, I know people get tired of me talking about my age, but I'm going to tell you why I do it. G knows why I do it. I don't really care about my age in that sense, but I share my age so that people can understand that as we age, we can still find joy and new adventures and happiness, and we can hang out with different folks and people from different generations, and we can learn from them, and it doesn't have to be this doom and gloom existence waiting for your death. And then when you do die, to think of death as just another, I don't know, just another place. I don't know, another level, you know, and that's how I'm looking at it now. So I'm just, the reason I share my age with you is not because I want you to tell me how beautiful I am, but you can do that if you want to. But at the end of the day, it's really, really, really to show you that it's about happiness and joy and sharing your life with somebody and others that makes life so wonderful, and that makes aging a joy instead of something that you regret. So, G, don't want to lose time because I know we only have a half hour, but I know that you've been hearing about Black Lives Matter. Mm-hmm. You've had to. All over the world, everybody is talking about Black Lives Matters. And I know one of the conversations that I had with you, and I've had with every collaborative team, because we had 4 of them all together, so young people from all over the world, I said to you that one of the most important reasons that I wanted you to come to my home and have dinner with me and get to know my family and get to know my environment and my bubble was because I wanted you to know a different side of the Black experience that is sometimes not represented truthfully in media and all of that. And now we're, you know, fast forwarding from 2014 to this time, and Black Lives Matter. And you know, your insight without, you know, we're not pointing finger at anybody. We're not, you know, we're just speaking our hearts. And, you know, when I look across at you, I see me. I don't see, I see you as somebody that I shared an incredible experience with. And I know your culture. I know your ethnicity. But what's more important to me is I know who you are. You know, there's a saying, and I always pronounce it incorrectly. Anybody knows that I don't have an ear. That's why playing the guitar is like really hard for me, but I'm learning. It's sawabona, and it means I see you. I see you deeper than all this other stuff. So when you are, you know, looking in, what's happening for you around all that?
So it hurts me. I mean, it's very painful to hear about it happening, and so to give you, it's very painful. It's very hurtful to hear about it, but I know it exists, and I never knew it existed till I first came to the US, and I understand that there's a different fight you have to fight depending on your color. I mean, you fight a whole different fight depending on your color. And I told you this, I think day before yesterday, that when I was in San Diego, I had a roommate, he was an African roommate. He was from Zimbabwe, mm-hmm. and he was studying to be a doctor. So he's like halfway through his medicine and very qualified and stuff. But he told me that, you know, every time, at least once a month, he would just get stopped by the police. And it's the most for me, it was like, why for what, and why? And he said, no, just because I'm Black and this is what it is, you know, it just happens. and that was the first time I realized, oh wow, that is there is something like this. Like there is also stereotypes that if you're a brown person, you're also like the IT guy, and you're not going to do anything. And I've seen that. I've seen that happen. If I drive, I know that no one's going to look at me, no one's going to worry about me. But I know when I first came to understand this is a huge problem. I mean, for me, it's just you. Like you said, I see you as my mother, as my mentor, and just another person, and not based on color. So the whole thing is very, very, very sad. And I mean, it's a good thing that everyone's making a lot of noise about it. And this happened 5 years back also. I remember when I was at ASEB, there was a peaceful march, like the peaceful protest happening right in front of the office.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yes, yes, and we
And
participated.
we thought it would get better by that from then, but it's very unfortunate it had to happen again, and we still have to raise our voices about it. Now, back in India also, we do support the cause, but in India itself, we have the whole fair and dark, problem. And I come under the dark, so I've always been troubled by the fairer part. Like, hey, you're dark or you're black, and for the first time, I always felt at home when I was with you and at your home. Like I was like,
I know, right?
I feel so cool right now. So I hope
Well,
it changes.
I think as a culture, meaning a humanity, we're going to have to explore colorism, because I think when we think about racism, and racism in itself is a construct of oppression and power and all of that. I was reading, I think I showed it to you and Felicia yesterday. I'm reading the Willie Lynch letter. And I really think anyone who has not read this, black or white, in America, needs to read this so that you can understand that systemically, since the 1700s, the conversation around the oppression of the black man, the brown man from Africa, was systematically done. So, and it's a very small, because it's the letter. So, and when you read it, it's going to make you cry, because he definitely was a racist and so forth. But then maybe we can have an equal conversation around racism. And then even in the Willie Lynch letter, it talks about separating people by color. And so the caste system was brought to us from the dominant culture way back in the 1700s, whether it was in the Europeans or the continents of Africa or other continents, wherever that overcoming through war and whatever happened, that caste system was placed. You can see it in Bali, you can see it in Cuba, a little less because of the fact that people are more, what do I want? Oh, they didn't oppress within, they oppressed within. Their caste system is from the head. It's like they're not as pretty because they're dark, or things of this nature, but the systems are not set up. It's the mindset of the people in the systems, whereas here in America, the system itself, the paper, the black and white, sets this up. So it's just so interesting, G, that we are having the same conversation, but from a different place of oppression.
Sure. And when you spoke about the book yesterday, it made me reflect about India's history also. Like we had British, the Britishers conquer us, and then I still remember that I think one of the Britishers, it's somewhere on the internet where they said that we were very culturally rich, as all African nations or anyone who's been conquered, and the only way we could break them is first by destroying the education system, their cultural beliefs, and then so on, as exactly you mentioned color also. So even back in India, we look at the color white as a color of power, if that makes sense.
Well, and unfortunately, if you look in the dictionary, again, we set up a system where we put meanings to words that give value, and the word white which actually Caucasian people are not white. That's the first thing. But anyway, well, that's a whole nother dialogue. But the white thing is about purity, and then black, it says dirty and scared. Ugh. So until we change the construct, and black people aren't black. So, you know, this is the dichotomy of all of this stuff, that we've changed the meanings. We made a color a construct of political oppression. And how could you take such a beautiful color like black or white and turn them into something that oppress? So, you know, it's just weird. And as a humanity, we need to get better at all this. But I believe it's about having the dialogue. As you well know, G, that's what we used to do in the backyard around the campfire, is just talk about all kinds of things. We didn't always agree, because it wasn't about debate, but it was about an exchange of conversation, an exchange of wisdom. And I loved it, because we would have our wine and cigars, and, you know, back in the, you know, it was really cool. So before we lose our time, because time, you know, is something that is not in our hands, thank God, because we would destroy that too. But, oh, actually, we kind of do destroy that. That's a whole nother show too. You know, I should never speak out loud, because then my brain just gets on fire about all these things. But I want to just shout out again to all my friends that come every week on Facebook Live and who are sharing this. Please share it. Put it on your Twitter. Do what, you know, just share it all over the place. All of these conversations. I want to thank all of the folks that when I call and say, come on and talk about something, they come on and talk about something. And then, G, before I lose you, tell me what was one of the most incredible experiences that you had by being a professor at the University of Paris in France.
So in my first class, I think I had a 50 to 60-year-old lady, and she was from Africa also. And it was a very normal class called Business English, but I kind of changed it to business English for gangsters, because I come from your family, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah. That's right. We are humanity gangsters. That's right.
And the class was not like a typical class. I just took all the lessons from you and whatever I had learned outside of school, and I compiled it into one course. And I said, see, English is not the problem. It's just you need the confidence to do it. And I taught this class, and I remember this lady, she came up to me, and at the end of the whole course, she comes up to me and she's like, sir, I'm 50 years old or 60 years old. I have grandchildren. I'm a cancer survivor, because I think I just got out of it recently. And I cannot express how much you have changed my life with this class, and how much confidence you have given me to go back out in the work field, or, you know, do things and speak English. And it was very small, but it was very impactful. Like, my first class had like at least 7 people who were about the age of 30, and they were so how do you say, empowered to
90 seconds.
And that is the first one I could think of.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on. You know, we are also doing our podcast live, which is called Life is a Sacred Journey. Everything is called Life is a Sacred Journey. I will let you know, we have decided, along with G and Felicia, my producer of this, that Life is a Sacred Journey is going to be trademarked, which it is already. And Micheal Pope Radio will be the house that Life is a Sacred Journey lives in. And we are in the process of also putting together other webinars and trainings and discussion groups. And I have begun my book. I am going to, in 2021, along with my dear friend Carolyn Brent, who you know, Why Wait is her book, one of her books. She is going to help me, and I've decided to self-publish. So thank you for G being a part of that dream. And actually, I know it's all because of G and Felicia and Carolyn Brent that this has come about. So I want to thank all of you who have joined us on Blog Talk Radio, and I want to thank all of you that come back again every single Friday at 8 a.m. on Facebook Live, and everybody else who watches us through every other streaming thing that we do. Thank you, Felicia, for making that possible. And then lastly, G, I just want to thank you so much for everything that I've learned from you as well. Thank you for lifting me up as a teacher to you, but you definitely were a teacher for me as well.
Thank you for using
So I just want you to know that it's not a one-way street. So I just want to wish you the best there in Dubai, and I hope that everything is going well for you, and I'm glad that you're staying healthy. And while I have my audience still with us on Facebook Live, I want to say happy birthday to Debbie Bay, a good friend of mine who I church with, who I haven't seen since March. And then I want to say happy birthday to my beloved Robert. And so happy birthday, you guys. Enjoy your days and your birthdays, and have fun. Do something different. Be joy. G, I love you. And I hope that give your mom and your dad and your grandma my love. Tell your mother I'm waiting for my tree. I think I see it behind you there to the left, my left. But that's magnificent. Yeah, yeah. She's an incredible artist. And yeah, she's an incredible artist. And I really can't wait to have my own piece in my house. So, all the way across the ocean and land to India to you. And you are no longer the lost Indian. You have been found.
By you.
Have a great day. And thank you, G. All righty. Bye-bye.